pre-partition communities used to be actually pirates. Many people would want to kill me for telling you this. The establishment is not even willing to count us. They want to control Karachi. The city has survived because the potential it carries. The modern Karachi, or the Karachi that you and I know, probably started back in 1836, 1837, 1838 with the unfortunate capture of Karachi by the Brits. Prior to that, Karachi was a sleepy town. The Karachi port, or the place where boats in Karachi used to come in dock, was not the deep sea port. It was basically where Delhi colony today is. In high tide, the boats used to float in, and then low tide, they used to float back towards the oyster rocks. But the East India Company had a special need for Karachi for them. It was the westernmost settlement, accessible settlement, deep sea port en route from Great Britain or London to, say. Brits were always paranoid about the Russian bear coming down south via Bolan Pass and reach the warm waters of the Indian Ocean. Okay, so they developed this encampment. Jhimpir became an air base, Drig Road Air Force Base, and Moripur Air Force Base. So basically, the Brits needed Karachi, and they developed the infrastructure of Karachi, not in for the good of the locals, but for their own strategic, commercial, strategic needs. So this is how the modern Karachi started building. But then, very rapidly, after 1838 or so, the population, which used to be a mere maybe 20,000, 30,000, crossed 100,000. Pretty soon, it became center of commerce. Karachi started developing from Kulachi. It became Karachi, and then finally Karachi. So this is the Brits had, or the East India Company had the money to invest in their needed infrastructure. So a well-planned infrastructure was developed. Engineer Walker built Bandar Road. People who tend to become or sit in the management seats of Karachi, they tend to forget why they have been put there, and they fell in love with the city, and they start doing things which were not on the original agenda. Walker was also condemned for being too frivolous, and that he built too wide a road. An inquiry team came from Bombay Presidency, and he responded that he still believes that the road leading to the port should be at least as wide, if not wider. There was a time when Bandar Road used to be washed. Okay, you must have heard those stories. Karachi has always been a diversity. Many people would want to kill me for telling you this, but one of the major powerful communities, local communities, pre-partition communities, used to be actually pirates. And those pirates settled in Karachi. Once tamed by the Brits, they settled in Karachi. And there are a lot of infrastructure, buildings credited to them. All the different communities that lived in harmony. I mean, you can see DJ College, Diaram Jetmal College, NED Engineering University, built by Hindus. Sindh Madrasatul Islam, a great institution, or Jamia Millia, built by Muslims. BVS, Mama Parsi, built by Parsi community. So different communities played in. The best part of Karachi has been, and always have been, that the so-called diverse communities or you can even call minorities. Once upon a time, Karachi was predominantly a Hindu city. Then the number of Muslim grew. A lot of Kachi Memons in around 1898 to 1902, there were a lot of famine and dry spells near Ahmedabad, Gujarat, Bhoj. So a lot of Kachi Memon Muslims migrated from there to Karachi. Bihar colony is a pre-partition colony. So Biharis came to Karachi, Niazi colony or Miawali colony, because they were into transport. And so they came from Kalabagh and Miawali. So the number of Muslims started to grow. And there was a conscious effort by Muslim League to grow, nudge those numbers up. And then Muslims became a force to be reckoned with. And so, I mean, this is sweet history of Karachi. Because of the communities, or as I said, Hindu, Muslim, even Jews used to be. We had a synagogue that we happily destroyed in Old City area. We had a lot of mandirs. So there were a lot of communities living peacefully and in harmony. And the city was constantly attracting people because there was work available. And because till 1947, East India Company, the work was basically, or Karachi was kind of cultivated by East India Company, or so they developed the infrastructure accordingly. It was the commercial, industrial, port, that nature of the city that attracted people. The violence that took place at the time of partition was mostly people migrating using the northern route into Punjab. Okay, there were a lot of trains and they were looted, people were killed, but people coming from Chor side, from Khokrapar, they were not. They had to suffer a lot, but they didn't really face the same kind of violence that people who were shifting from East Punjab or upper to Punjab. After Quaid-e-Azam and Liaquat Ali Khan, the control of this country went into the clutches of the establishment. Okay, establishment needed a slogan to keep people under its thumb, and that slogan was Pakistan ka matlab kya, la ilaha illallah. Okay, the establishment converted religion into the business of it. They stoked religious fervor, they stoked religious sentiments. The actual movement for the independence or Pakistan was fought in my eyes at least, in UP, CP, in those areas. This part of the country remained peaceful. Later on, in 1960-61, there was this religious riots. Haqqani Chowk, next to Pakistan Chowk, was known as Gandhi Chowk. There was a statue of Mahatma Gandhi there, was destroyed. All the statues that adorned the various roundabouts, and they were destroyed. People tried to destroy all the, anything that they could connect with, Hindu or against Islam. Okay, luckily there was a municipal commissioner in KMC at that time. He removed all those statues and all those things that he felt will be destroyed, dug a huge ditch inside KMC workshop on Nishta Road, okay, and buried all those statues. They remained buried till 1994 when I became the administrator, and I loaned those all those statues to Mahota Palace. Mahota Palace Museum was being set up at that time, okay, and a lot of defaced, even broken, but surviving statues we have preserved. So that happened. So that was in 60. Now, in 80s, something else happened. There was Afghan war taking place, a lot of drug money, a lot of guns running, okay. All that money was getting funneled into Pakistan. Drugs were getting exported out of Karachi, okay, obviously from the port to all, and that a lot of people who were wearing uniforms, especially the police officers. Okay, they had a lot of money in those up to 70s. You had to justify the loot. Okay, so what they would do is they would buy a bus or a Toyota Hiace van and invest in that. Okay, because then there is no. So then there was in 1985 there was this Bushra Zaidi case where a girl was killed on road by one of these yellow devils, and that resulted into Pashtun Mahajar riots in the city. And in 1980s, the transport and then all the mafias. Once the drugs started pouring in, the guns started pouring in, the riots started taking place. Pashtuns and Mahajars were fighting, and it's so the city became topsy-turvy, and everybody who used to sort of look up to Karachi as city of lights wanted to stay away from it. The reason people come to Karachi is not to look at mine or your faces. They come here because they know they can find a place to live. First, they can find a place to work, they can find a place to live, and they can eat very economically. All the communities since back in 1838 till today, people who have migrated to Karachi, who have flocked Karachi, they have come here looking for work, means of employment, means of business, commerce, and they find the city extremely secular, extremely democratic in true sense of the word. The establishment is not even willing to count us. They're so scared. Okay, if Karachi was in 1981 5.3 million, in 17 years later, it was 10 million, almost double. They still count us as 15 million after so many years, and the reason is they want to control Karachi. What they do not realize, if they, instead of trying to control Karachi, they allow Karachi to live, your agenda, the livability of Karachi, if they allow, Karachi will produce much more. But the problem is establishment is so scared of Karachi, they won't allow it. All the time they're trying to control, and when they try to control, they create anomalies, they fracture the city, and the result is right in front of you. I have lived and studied in New York. Okay, I've literally traveled all over the world. There's no other city in the world I would rather live. So for me, the most livable city is Karachi. And this is true for a huge number of Karachiites. People who have capacity, opportunity to sort of ditch the ship and go live in the greener pastures, people refuse. So that's livability. If you talk about transport, water, access to utilities, this, that, yes, it's an extremely unlivable city. The city has survived because the potential it carries.